Good evening,
Hello,
everyone.
everybody. Good evening. Look at CPJ coming in with the first comment. Hey, hey, how's it
Nice.
going?
We are going to develop some sort of honor system, CPJ. And I think when we tally those imaginary points up, you would probably come out on top with the most points. So you'll get to visit the non existent imaginary store, virtual store, to buy non existent items for use anywhere in your mind.
Yes, and our
That's real
angry
meta.
face Sean is going negative points
Why
every
do you
single
start that
time.
in the beginning, John?
Why he's angry, nobody knows.
Who knows? I need some water really bad, so I'm gonna text my kid that I left my water bottle upstairs.
Oh
But
my gosh.
otherwise, I'll just keep doing that all night. I just finished eating. All
What'd
right,
you have?
and let me
Angry Mr. THC.
holla. And let me tell you, I actually was very surprised because tonight it just tastes good. It was just a good, clean meal. So it was just barbecue seasoned pork chops in the air fryers, and some white rice, excuse me, and some bell peppers, mixed bell peppers, and onions.
Well, that sounds
Man,
good.
it
That
was.
sounds really good.
I was eating it. I had a second serve, and I was just like, "This is good tonight. This is really good."
CPJ's already cashing in. She wants happy hour with Sandy. Hey, we can make it happen because guess what? Dry January is over.
Oh, dry January is over, and now we're into Black Heritage Month,
Yes, that's
and
exactly where I was going to go with that.
that's why I'm wearing my Prince shirt today. I
That
wanted
is
to
why
start
you're
off
wearing. Yes.
the show with some good, positive Black History Month stuff. I said Black Heritage, right? It's Hispanic Heritage Month in October, Black History Month in February. So my wife walked in tonight and she was singing. She had the song playing. I'm not going to remember it right now. I'm not going to remember it.
You should hum a few bars, see if we
I,
can
I, I can't
guess
even.
it.
I can't even remember that. But it was something about Black people are so good, or
Like genuine, come ride. What is it? Ride the pony.
no, no. I'm asking for my water because excuse
That
me.
was too much. Jamie, can we introduce this
No,
random person
nope.
that we have on our screen? Oh, I'm
Sorry.
so sorry.
So
I
Miguel,
cannot
I told
introduce
you how
you.
the format was going to go. I don't think I got to tell.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I think it's been a while since we've had a guest on, honestly. So how's y'all's days been? How's y'all's week been?
We'll let
Hey,
our
my week
guests
is.
go first.
Oh, okay, sure. Thanks. My week has gone fairly well. Ended January in a good momentum with the goals I've set for myself. So walked into February feeling really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's about y'all?
Can we know what goals you have set?
Yeah.
Never. No, yeah, sure. So I have one major goal for the year, and then I like to set kind of checkpoints each month
Okay.
that lead me towards that. So my overall goal for the year of 2023 is just to be a lot more healthier.
Okay.
And so in the month of January, I implemented two things, which was a bedtime. My family are on night owls. So I come from a long line of night owls, so I had to establish a routine of going to bed a certain time, waking up a certain time, and so I established that, and I also established increasing my water intake. And so, by doing those two things, which may not sound like a whole lot, but by doing those simple two things throughout the month of January, I started off at 220 pounds and I finished off at 215. So,
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. Those two things. No
Those two things.
workout or anything.
No, I'm going to start working out in February.
That's
Yep.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That you know what? Small goals.
Exactly.
I'm so happy for you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Because I know Mr. Pineapples and our co-host Joe, they very much night owls. I'm talking about like I put my phone on do not disturb, but these two, they'll be, and not so much Joe, but Jamie, he'll be sending messages 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know how people can function. I'm old. I have to go to bed early. I'm yawning on this show, and I don't mean to. It's just because it's my bedtime, and then I'll get like a little reminder. So to me, sleep is very important.
Yes.
I think it is important too. I really do.
It's
Very
important for a lot
convincing.
of
Very
you. Yeah.
convincing.
I mean, I can't help it that I like to stay up at night. Like, it's so funny, right? Because there have been times where work comes in and I'll be like, oh, and then I'll turn on my work laptop and then like I'm like, ooh, I'm finally hitting my stride that I should have hit this morning, like
Right.
8 o'clock. And I'm like, the juices are flowing, the
Mhm.
neurons are bursting, and I'm just like, yes, everything's hitting on all cylinders. I can do it, and I'm going away at it, right? And so, but during the daytime, morning time, I'm here and I'm there, and I'm just not as
Right. So what happens is that, and I face the same thing, right? So what happens is that because you're so productive at night, you think I can only work good at night, and so you justify that
no.
by
I can work
staying
good in the
up.
daytime and night.
No, we
I'm that
can't.
good.
No, we can't.
I just prefer night.
Yeah, okay, it's a choice. So at least that was my case. Okay, I'll throw it on me. Because I work so good at night, it was like, okay, then I have to break night in order to do my quote unquote best work. But once I got into the habit of just going to bed, and at least for me, it was 11:30 p.m. Eastern and waking up at 6 a.m. Eastern. So that time just works for me. And that's enough sleep for me to wake up energized and do exactly what I have to do and be productive.
See, I feel like during the daytime, everyone wants or needs something from me during the daytime. But at nighttime, I can do what I want. You know what I mean? I can watch my show without interruption.
I get
can
that.
Go upstairs and bake for 4 hours without interruption. I can work on promos or whatever. During the evening. And so it's like, okay, no one's needing anything. No meetings are scheduled. No kids need something. No dinner needs to be made. Whatever. So, no, know what I mean?
So CPJ says, I've been getting up at 5 for the last few weeks. I still can get to sleep before midnight.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? I've been getting up at 5.
At 5.
For the last.
I still can get to sleep before midnight.
I still can get to sleep before. Okay.
Yeah. And that's
Jamie
a good
wants
time,
you
right?
To fly high.
So
was that
Miguel,
the song you were listening
to? In Illinois, cannabis is legal, so
I understand.
John's a little jealous.
I understand.
He would like to fly high as well, but he can't.
I would love all y'all to fly high with me up here. Just saying.
Sure. So, just Dandy, how was the week? How did it go for you?
So it went really good. We've been kind of delayed, like at school today. They canceled school, and so it's been ridiculous. My son turned 17 today, so I'm like, what an amazing birthday!
Congrats.
Yeah, it's like you got a day off for your birthday. And what's so funny is one of his friends, like he'll call in sick on his birthday. He's like, I bet he's jealous of me now. So Eric baked him a cake. Yeah, so we've never baked a cake before. We usually go buy something, but just because everything's closed and we didn't want to get out, we just baked him a cake. And not we, I say we.
Instead of eggs?
Huh?
Did y'all use those bananas instead of eggs?
No, why?
I was curious, just wondering.
Oh, hey, no, that's okay. We'll financially recover from the eggs. And let's see, what else did we do? And that's about it. So we're gearing up. Today's his birthday, and then Eric's birthday is the 6th, and then my mom, who's a twin, hers is the 7th. We just have so many birthdays in February. February is a very expensive month. But anyway, that's about it for us. Just work from home.
That's March for me. March is where I have all 4 of the ladies in my house birthdays are in March. 3 of them are in the same week.
Oh wow!
You have to like save up, and then you're financially recovering from Christmas, and then you have to.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I was like, geez. So let me tell you, I was so, guys. Let me tell you, I'm going to hell. Let me just tell you that right now, okay? Sandy, I tried to call you last night because I needed your help.
Yes, and when you called me, I was checking out at the grocery store.
That was not as important as what I needed. Everyone, let me tell you what happened.
It's so rude to be on your phone when you're checking out.
That is true.
It's ruder to go to hell.
I mean,
it is a choice. It is a choice.
Ruder, okay.
You don't have to go.
Okay, let me just tell you. I was at an event yesterday, okay? And I was seeking guidance on something. So in this meeting hall, I decided to go ahead and raise my hand and ask a question.
Oh, you're one of those.
And I started to get my answer, and I was like, I'm unclear still. So if you could help me understand better, I'd appreciate it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they And then I got it. Someone started talking though, and I could not understand what they were saying. I could understand the words, the lexicon that they were using was clear. The context and the format of those words put together, like I was like this, literally.
Kind of like how I look at y'all sometimes.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was kind of like, and I was processing what they were saying with the filter of my question, and it wasn't connecting right. So then I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop. Can anyone help me understand what they're saying? Because it's all going right above me. I can't understand a lick of
Did
it.
you put your finger on their face and just?
If I could have, I would have. I was like, Joe, just hold on. Anyone, Sandy, Miguel, if anyone out there can help me understand what Joe's saying, I would really appreciate, because I'm just not catching it. It's just not flowing for me. And then absolute silence. No one said anything.
So nobody understood. No one could translate what he was saying.
What am I?
So you didn't pull what is it, Chris Tucker? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
That's what I didn't understand. I was so lost. And then finally someone kind of was just like, yeah, it's not catching for me either. And then someone else started to just talk and whatever. And I was like, okay, because they tried to explain themselves. It still wasn't catching. I had no idea. Like, we were talking about zoos and lions and cages and how.
So we're speaking metaphors.
I don't know. I could not tell you guys. But then later on, someone asked a question. This person started talking, and then someone asked them to clarify it more. And I had to shut my camera off, and I had to shut the mic off, and I am losing it. I am absolutely losing it. And I'm calling Sandy, and I'm typing to the people. I'm like, why did you ask him to clarify that? It makes no sense. I was like, stop engaging him. Stop asking questions.
Did you not have the power to boot him and say, oh my God, he must have hopped off?
I did it, but I kept telling people, I was like, stop it. And then people were messaging me and saying, can you understand what he's talking about? Because I'm like, no, I can't. I have zero clue on what he's saying. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so we were like, I could not stop laughing for about 30 minutes, guys.
So maybe he was flying high?
Yeah.
So then I talked with someone afterwards, and I was like, what was that about? And they were like, I think he may have some schizophrenic issues, like legit.
Oh, that's why you felt so bad.
So Miguel, we are in a very mental health positive home. My wife has a PhD in marriage and family therapy. And when this person told me that, I was like, oh my God, now what did you say?
Your mental health just by proxy just flew just flew out the window.
So that's why I think I'm going to hell.
Well, you didn't know, right? And so you won't go to hell, because sin is knowing good and doing bad. And you didn't know. You were innocent. Walk in the forgiveness.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the light.
Sandy, why didn't you answer your phone? I just needed some.
Wait, don't blame Sandy because of your sins.
Listen. No, exactly. I'm on my own trouble. I don't need your problems. I need your sins compounding on mine. Jesus. That's why he answered. The Lord was like, don't answer, Sandy.
There you go. So God was using you, see?
I could not believe
God.
So much. And I was like, have y'all ever had something like that happen where you're like, please stop asking him questions. Please don't entertain him. Please don't ag him on. Like,
I've never acted like that. I'll tell you that right now.
You've been the one they told not to do that.
Listen, when I'm in a meeting, I cringe when they were like, well, does anybody have any more questions? And then there's that one person that has to prolong the meeting. I'm like, man, I got happy hour ready for me. And here you are prolonging this meeting. Those are the ones that get on my nerves, but they ain't never had no mental issues. You going to hell?
So, in other good news, I did take a final this week that I had, and I passed it. It was the second final.
Hey, congrats.
And then I had to take another assessment right after that, which I passed as well. Nice. And I was also able to submit my an application for intern application.
Is it
All
a
in like
paid
2 days.
intern?
I was like, I'll share later more, but
Okay. I think what Tron is trying to say here is, had you been flying high, you wouldn't have been that worked up about stuff.
maybe I would have understood him too. Stop laughing, Miguel.
Right, I'm the problem.
Now you're trying to cast your sins on Miguel.
Can you see this guy?
Dude.
All right, everyone.
He's trying to bring everyone to hell with him. Sorry, brother.
Goodness.
So I know we all. So I told Miguel yesterday. I said, or when I talked to him the other day, I said, "Look, we're going to do an icebreaker just so people can get kind of warmed up and get to know you, and so that way. So we'll just all talk about how our day went. Sorry, Sandy, for not telling you, but I think it's been so long since we had a guest that kind of
forgot our format.
Yeah, we did.
Let's backtrack real quick. Are you Miguel or Miguel?
I am either or.
Okay.
So yeah, I respond to Miguel or Miguel, either or. To be honest, with reference to Miguel, not a lot of people call me Miguel nowadays. Everybody just calls me Miguel. And then the last name is, I don't harp on it, even though it's pronounced Lebron. I don't argue if people just say Lebron. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So that is your last name.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe it was just like me, like Miguel Lebron. I'm the Lebron of the Miguels. I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
Yes, we casted votes, and I am the Lebron of the Miguels. That's what happened.
I really thought that's what it was.
That's my actual last name. Yeah, it's a French Italian, so it's supposed to be pronounced Lebron, but again, I don't even harp on it. It is what it is.
Hey, that's like a sexy last name, Miguel Lebron.
Yeah,
Lebron. I love it.
I was Peña, my last name the other day, and I was like, "Yo, it's Pena, not Peña." And then 3 hours later, it said, "I'm sorry, I just saw this just now," and I was like, "Not me."
Right. Yeah. Well, Peña, like that's a jump, but with like Lebron is like, I'm not gonna fight with everybody that doesn't know how to roll their R.
Yeah. Right. Because JB.
So everyone, I had the pleasure of meeting Miguel over on, or not meeting, but watching him. He was on one of our friends' shows over with Scout or Jason and Trey on Flows for You last week.
Okay, cool.
And so I got the opportunity to laugh with them, and I was like, oh, wow, I really want to know more about Miguel. And I want to, I think he would make a great guest on the Social UnDistancing show. Excuse me. And so I'm going to read the little blurb here that was written out. Okay. I don't know much about Miguel outside of what I watched on the show over there. But if you guys have seen Flows for You, you know how it is. And so I don't know much about Miguel. It's a wild party over there, okay?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I need to have him over here because I want to know more about him. So let me tell you this little blurb here that was written out for Miguel.
Cool.
Miguel Lebron is a personal growth strategist, and his experience as a keynote speaker spans 20 years. Having worked with multiple nonprofit organizations, Miguel has become a powerful community organizer and leader known for practical strategies empowering personal and professional growth. Miguel is the CEO of Miguel Lebron Coaching LLC and the host of Strategy Rewind, a podcast that focuses on the mindset and strategies needed for a breakthrough moment. Excuse me. After graduating from the Theological Institute of the Assembly of Christian Churches in 2013, Miguel served as associate pastor for the Assembly of Christian Churches for nearly 10 years. And since then, Miguel has furthered his education, attending Woodfield Christian University and obtaining a life coach certification in 2021 from New Skills Academy. His focus on community, his love for family, and his drive for legacy have allowed him to become an even more emotionally intelligent father, husband, leader, mentor, and keynote speaker.
Welcome, Miguel.
Thank you,
Miguel.
Thank you all.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So I'll be honest up front. What is I want to say it right because I don't want to get it mixed up, personal growth strategist?
And I'll be honest. If I had a life coach, they would fire me because I don't have my ish together. Okay, but go ahead, go ahead. Let me see if you can help me, Miguel.
Okay. This is the interview? No. So, yeah, so a personal growth strategist, what that means is that I help individuals think strategically so that they can accomplish their breakthrough moment. And so, when I say that initially, there's two questions that I generally get, which is what is a breakthrough moment and what does it mean to think strategically? So a breakthrough moment is, simply put, that aha moment, right? It's that moment where your understanding of something and your ability to do it come together. And so it kind of like a light bulb moment goes off and you get it and you can implement it and see the change. So that's a breakthrough moment. And then thinking strategically is being able to pivot and find a solution despite not feeling as though there is one. And oftentimes individuals establish a goal and want to have success at that goal. However, when they encounter some sort of issue, rather it be mental, emotional, or something in their environment, they simply get derailed, as opposed to thinking strategically. How can I overcome this? How can I move forward? Or what does it require for me in order to accomplish the goal I want to accomplish?
That sounds interesting. So when I heard you on that one, what I feel like what you're saying in the last part, it implies having to have like a level of emotional intelligence over that, right? Because to do what you just mentioned, it's hard to do with the feelings leading, right? With the heart leading the way. Because I know for me, it makes me, I'll say dumb stuff and I'll laugh at people, right? When I'm doing by my heart and my feelings. Versus really having that emotional intelligence to to help me navigate that better and be like, it hurts, it sucks, but I really need to focus on the next step. What am I going to do? What's the practical thing right now, not what I'm feeling.
Right. And I think the key word there is practical. I think oftentimes people establish radical goals expecting radical results. And it's like, if you establish a practical goal, you'll see a radical result. So the example that I can give you is my very own, where it's like, I know I want to get to a certain place health-wise. So let me just address these things that I can address in my daily habit. In a practical sense, drinking water is like, okay, so the way I did that was I just put an alarm on my phone for every several hours so that I can drink 8 cups of water in a day. And that's what I've been able to do, right? The alarm sounds and I go, right? And then the same thing with going to bed early, waking up early. Yeah. Right. And so the same thing with going to bed early and waking up early. To do that, I simply had a conversation with my wife. I said, hey, I want to put my alarm, but I don't want it to disturb you. What's the best time? Because I either want to go between 5 or 6 and so I was able to get an agreement with her so that it doesn't disturb her. And the byproduct of that, which wasn't a goal, but a byproduct, is that every morning we've been able to have breakfast together. And so I think oftentimes what happens is that we establish a goal and we see these things happen that wasn't necessarily the goal, but this feels good. And so it's like, well, then I guess I accomplished something. And it's like, no. That's just a byproduct of the work you're putting in. If you keep putting in the work, you'll see other byproducts as you accomplish your goal.
Makes sense.
So you get additional benefits a lot of times when you're not planning for those.
Correct.
And that enforces it. That I think when you get the additional benefit, then it's enforced. And then so that helps motivate you along the way when you have that additional benefit.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Yeah. I think another issue is that, and this has happened to all of us, where it's like, there's 7,000 things we want to accomplish in 1 year. And of course it's hashtag new year, new me. And so we got, this bucket list of things but December comes around quicker than what we think. And before we know it, we're feeling like, man, I didn't even get to accomplish half of these things. Well, yeah, because you weren't necessarily practical with it. And none of those things fit into your day-to-day routine. And if it fits into your day-to-day routine, then it becomes much more easier to just implement.
You should make a short or a reel, whatever that is, and be like, I'm talking about practical. I'm talking
about practical, man. And then I'll do the other version and be like, we talking about practical? Practical?
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm all about practicals, man. Like when I hear you say that, it's pretty refreshing, right? Because I feel like I feel like I hear a lot of, like how I just said, a lot of feeling, belief, and thoughts on things when it comes to life and wanting to change things. Like I've heard a guy who I personally believe he would make a great voice actor. But for the last 3 years that I've known him, he talks about how he wants to be that and how he feels like he could really do well in that and stuff. And it's like, it's so weird because when I look at you, bro, I'm like, I see all the stuff that takes to do it, and you could totally do it. It's all within your grasp. It's all within your reach. It's within your capability and everything. It just seems like it's missing you making that practical decision to be like, it's as easy as signing up for this class first.
Exactly.
And then next. And you know what I mean? Like, build onto it. It's not like you're going to just jump into voice acting from day one or whatever the goal is, right? It's not going to be the big one thing.
So do you feel like the reason we hold ourselves back is maybe because of something that like happened in our childhood, that maybe we, like, for example, the friend that you're giving, he wasn't encouraged, and so he doesn't have that encouragement, so he doesn't have the drive to do something like that? I mean,
yeah, it's very possible, right? Because, well, I'll say this. Let me start off with this part. Strategy, as I defined it, is a specific number of steps to help you obtain a breakthrough moment. And so the key word there is a specific steps, because in order for you to lay out any steps, you first have to determine where you are. And the issue is that oftentimes we compare ourselves to other people. So I may say, well, Sandy's 10 steps away. I should be more closer than she is. It's like, no, she's on her journey. I'm on mine. And maybe I am 20 steps away. But if I just do these steps, then I will get to the breakthrough moment. I will get to accomplish my goal. Now, when we talk about what you're saying, which is like, okay, how much does the community play a factor, or the lack of community play a factor? Well, we know that self-efficacy initially starts with those individuals that surround us, right? Like when you're a kid, you know you're beautiful, not because you can compare yourself to anyone else, but because your mom and dad says you're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're wise. And you're like, yeah, mom and dad said it, and they're not liars. Like, so your self-efficacy is built that way. Now, it should not rely on those individuals, but oftentimes it does. Likewise, if we see someone who is close to us that says, I'm going to build a business, and on the journey they fail to do that, that affects our self-efficacy, in that we think, if this person is right next to me and I can touch them and they fail, then I can fail too. So that builds in this built-in fear, like, I'm not better than Uncle Joe who just failed, so I may fail as well, so I best not even try. And there goes that part of comparison, right? Because Uncle Joe maybe took a wrong turn where, again, you may be 2 steps away or 10 steps away, but you're not looking at your journey. You're too busy looking at someone else's. So I think that is a major factor. It's like, well, everyone around me isn't doing it. So like, but if you want to do it, let's become real honest on where am I? And then once I've determined where am I, and then I've determined what is it that I want to accomplish, the real question is, who do I have to become in order to accomplish that? Because obviously
I can accomplish it all.
Exactly, right? Because the version that I am now can't accomplish that. So what version of me is required in order to accomplish that?
I like that because I've been on a kick this last couple of weeks. Miguel, I've been watching Bar Rescue. It was a show. I don't know if it's still on.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It was a show that was on Spike. I don't know if it still airs or somewhere else. But anyway, there's this common thing that I see when there's some owners of these bars who, like, it's varied across the board, but here's the common denominator. They lack the confidence to run this on their own, and so they keep getting into relationships. And I don't mean like
business relationships, not platonic.
Yes.
Yeah, platonic.
They keep getting into business relationships with people they shouldn't have. But if they had the confidence from the beginning, they'd have just run it on their own, and it might have been different. But instead, it's like they wanted that crutch of a business partner with them, so that, I guess, to have a net and stuff,
right.
Not failing. But instead, they ended up failing even more than they would have probably right?
Fail by yourself.
Don't fail with someone else, and then it was their fault later when it was like, you totally wanted that, you totally got in that, And
Well, it's
so,
like earlier when you were trying to cast your sins on us, right?
Yeah,
You know,
I remember that.
so you remember that?
I should not be assaulted on my own show, okay?
Yet you assaulted us, and you barely
It's
met
my
one of
show.
us.
It's my show.
Yeah, and so that happens, right? It's the fear of not making it and then having to fail on my own, because then is, well, who do I have to blame if I fail? And that's not a good way to start, which is why I say, if you're able to determine what you want to accomplish, then the question becomes, who do I have to become in order to do that? Because it's clear that the version that I am now, this version of me isn't going to do that. So what are the type of things that the version of me that accomplishes that does? Like what does he do? Well, he goes to bed early. Well, he drinks more water. Well, he actually watches what he eats. He actually does these things. And so then it's like, okay, so now do them. And as you implement them, you become that person. I think another detail is also the reality that our values change. And so what happens is that what's important to you when you were a teenager is not what's important to you when you were in your 20s, or even when you're in your 30s, or you're renting, or you're a homeowner, or married, or single, or etc. All these positions in life change your values. And oftentimes we establish a goal based upon values that we considered important years ago. And it's like, you've changed. Acknowledge that you've changed, reevaluate your values, and set appropriate goals to who you are now.
Okay. I mean, it's resonating. Nothing ever resonates, Miguel.
Okay, good. So we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. So Carrie says, confidence isn't a thing that we just are given and don't have to work at. It's a muscle that has to be worked. Confidence is a thing we do. I do confidence and live in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome, Carrie.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, that sense of community plays a major factor. It's the reason why when children start school, we're all looking for friends, right? It's because it gives certain validation, and it gives certain credibility to the thoughts that mom and dad said. That's why it doesn't even matter how much I tell my daughters, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, beautiful. Someone in school says, you're ugly. I'm like, but they said I was ugly.
Yeah, because you can speak positivity, but all we're going to remember is the negative.
Right. Let me tell you real quick. Don't do that around my daughter, because if she hears you calling some other kid ugly, my daughters are going to be the ones who get all up in your face. So.
Yeah. And so it's because of, as you mentioned, that negative voice almost takes center stage, but it also is because of the value that we give those voices. And because our self-efficacy, which is the way we view ourselves, is initially brought about what our circle says about us and what they do. So it's if around us we have a bunch of people that are dreamers, people that are entrepreneurs, people that are striving for greatness, it's almost embedded in you that is like, yeah, we do strive for greatness here. That's just what we do. Like, nobody lollygags. We work here. But if everyone around you is doing the opposite, that is, everyone around you is not working, then even though you want to work, it's like, now you're almost pushing against a grain, the difficulty that comes with trying to succeed, plus the environmental part of that.
Because birds of a feather.
And also, but there's a certain side road on how you said that made me think, like, because when we want to, it was because what you were saying, you asked your wife earlier, what would be a good frame for you to succeed in, right? And so it made me think, like, there are times in my life where I have wanted to do something also, right? And I felt like I've stopped myself because I think it's not just about the naysayers and all that or whatever, any haters, but I stopped myself because I think, oh, this is going to be inconvenient for the kids, for my wife, for my friend, whatever I feel is some sort of influence that I have in somewhere else. And so I can tell myself no, or, pause or stop or something like that. And so
Yeah. And so that was the first time I had done that, because, to be honest, years prior, I would just set up an alarm and I'd be like, and I'm waking up at 5:30 after going to bed at 1. It's like, and that's what I'm going to do. And it's like, no, that just doesn't make sense, because eventually, I mean, you can do it one night or 2 nights, but eventually your body is going to just wear out. And even if you try to muscle it through, you're just not going to be able to. On top of that, your alarm that you didn't hear is going to annoy you, the other person in the room. And that's what happened to me. And so this time around, again, it's thinking, okay, what would the person that I have to be, what would that person do? Well, they would communicate and they would say, hey, I want to do this goal and this is what it requires. And can you be a part of that? And that's what that would look like.
I love that. I love that because my husband's alarm isn't considerate of my feelings. He has to get up much earlier than I do. I'm writing this down. Be like Miguel.
Oh yeah, Miguel, my coach said.
Right. My life coach.
Yeah, it resonated. It
resonated.
Tell you. So Miguel, when you have, staying within this realm, like, do you have a methodology that you approach practically with folks that you'd be willing to kind of share to kind of help people feel, like what is in their headspace that can help them get through?
Yeah. So the first thing is, what is it that you see yourself accomplishing? And oftentimes this may sound easy, but the thing is, the definition of success really matters, because oftentimes because we're not familiar with what the possibilities of success are, we oftentimes take someone else's definition of success, right? So like for example, somebody else's definition of success is the corner office. Okay, then I need the corner office. Like, well, yeah, but that may not be it for you. Oh, somebody's success is having a family. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe not. Maybe that's not what you need, at least not right now. And so starting with a good definition of success. And to me, a definition of success is a specific yet evolving endpoint. Right? So a specific yet evolving endpoint. It's specific because it's tailored to you, right? This definition of success cannot be tailored to anyone else. It's evolving because you're going to evolve. So if we have this conversation today, February 1st, at the end of this month, you're going to be an entirely different version. And you're like, I'll never change. You're going to change. Something is going to happen. Either you're going to learn something or you're going to experience something that's going to cause a change, which is good. That's what you want to change. Nobody wants to be stagnant. So having that in mind, that this specific yet evolving endpoint is because you're evolving, and then it's an endpoint because you're throwing at something, right? You're aiming at something that may be for the long haul. And so having that framework of strategy, now we say, okay, what would be something you would accomplish? And the conversation usually initiates with having that mindset. It's like, all right, you picture it? Yes. Okay, now close your eyes and let's actually envision it. And the real way that this conversation or this portion would go is if we were having a conversation, I would say, okay, close your eyes and just assume you're in the future, 10 years from now. And you've accomplished all the things you want to accomplish. And you're walking down the street and you open your eyes and you see me and I ask you, hey, how have you been? What this does is that it slows down the moment. Ideally, the individual is now with this framework of success. They are now in the moment, and their language should be one where it's like, I've been doing X, Y, Z, and I have done X, Y, Z. If their language is I have done or I would like to have done X, Y, Z, then they're not in the moment. Then it's like, okay, wait, let's get back to this moment, because the idea is feel success, right? Feel that breakthrough moment, so that then. Correct. You want to feel success. You want to feel, what would it feel like if you did X, Y, Z, right? So if you wanted to lose weight, what would it feel like if you were 50 pounds lighter? Well, I would feel 50 pounds lighter. No, duh. But what would it feel like? How would that, right? How would that change your very fiber?
Like $1 million.
Right. Amazing. So now let's get to the point in this conversation where you feel that. Because if you feel that, then it's like, oh, I want to get back to that feeling. Because the current way that I'm feeling is not the way I want to feel. Right. What kind of individual gets to that feeling? Well, it's the kind of individual that does X, Y, Z. Right. Those are the things you have to implement into your habits. Those are the things. And oftentimes it's that simple of a conversation, although it sounds simpler, but it's that type of conversation of just becoming aware of what are your daily habits. And this is why I say your values matter, because if you say, well, my number one value is my family, but you always work and never have time for your family. Well, is it really a value, or would you like for it to be a value? And if you would like for it to be a value, then now you have to determine, what are you more scared of? Are you more scared of losing that promotion or losing your family? And it's like, well, I'm more scared of losing my family. Okay, then what are you willing to give up to have that moment with your family? A good example of this is Tom Brady. Tom Brady played one more year in the NFL, but that's this last year. What did it cost him? His marriage. His wife wanted him.
He was looking for an out because he announced his retirement.
He just retired, but he retired last year as well. Yeah, no. And in that,
he said, "This time for good, though. This time,
right,
for
in
real,
that
guys."
In that last retirement, his wife was the one who, according to all reports and all accounts, she was the one who was wanting him to now focus on their family. And several days after saying he retired, what did he say? I'm back in it.
He spent time with that family and was like,
he was like, I'm out of here. No. But this is a good example, because here's what happens, Sandy, is like, he may have said, my family is my highest value. Is it, or is it being considered the GOAT?
It's that money. That money is the highest value. Because why else would you put your family like that?
Right. And so this is the part of, people talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, you can select your fear, because there's in this case, hey, Mr. Brady, what are you more afraid of not being remembered as the GOAT or losing your entire family?
Right now I'm like, Tom Brady who? If we're being
I was like that like years ago too, though. So
yeah,
but I'm sure.
But I think it's a good example with reference to what it is to choose your fear, right? And again, he may be an example that's like, oh yeah, but he's over there, he got billionaire problems. Okay, well, you can still apply this to yourself, right? So if you're saying, well, I want to get a better job. Okay, well, you want to get a better job, put in the application. Oh, what if they reject me? Okay, are you more fearful of rejection or stagnation? What are you more fearful of? I'm more fearful of stagnation. Okay, then put in the application. If they reject you, so what? Put 10 more on. What does it matter? But if you're fearful of the rejection, then you're not gonna do it. So it's pick your fear type of thing.
But even in that though, isn't it? And I guess I'm going to speak more from like men's perspective, men's side of things, right? Like, I hear what you're saying, and it resonates, and I feel like my experience with a lot of guys would tell me that that's not something they're easily willing to admit or own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly. I think with men, there is that certain bravado, there is that certain machismo, there is this idea that I have to be Superman, but I also think that the way the general culture is going is that there is an embrace and an awareness that, hey, men do have this side that they just aren't speaking. It's not that they don't go through things, it's that they're just,
or that they feel it. They do feel it.
Of course, everyone feels. It's just a matter of, are you going to suffer in silence, or are you going to actually talk about it? And what I don't like is the double-edged sword in a general sense. What I don't like is the double-edged sword that exists, because it's like, if you want to be, for example, if you want to be a leader, well, you have to learn how to suffer in silence, because sometimes you'll be alone. But don't suffer in silence, because you might hurt yourself. It's like, well, which one is it? Are we applauding those who suffer in silence, or are we applauding those who are openly having conversations and dialogues about, hey, this is the hurdle I'm facing, and these, and creating that community that can actually have that conversation with you. So I think the conversation somewhat still needs to develop, in that we understand that everyone has these feelings, regardless if you're in leadership or not, and allowing that space to grow.
I agree. Go ahead, Sandy. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I think we're slowly chiseling away that stigma where men can't or shouldn't or don't express themselves. And I think it might be starting with us and with our kids. Like, we think we did some not good stuff, but then I think we did some positive stuff with our kids.
I feel like it would be, I feel like our generation, Sandy, was a little bit more open to it, but still more stuck in the previous generation's way of that. I feel like the generations after us, though, if Reddit's taught me anything, it's that men definitely feel stuff. Men like to be spooned sometimes, is what I see them saying, right? And that takes a particular level of vulnerability for them to share that. I don't know, many of them would go broadcasting that out and about, but I do feel like the younger generations do embrace that more and look at those of us who've come and are like, y'all are weird.
Yeah. Let me catch up on these comments real quick.
Go for it.
Hold on. Miguel Lebron, that's how she said it.
Sure.
I need you to say that one more time for the husband in the back. Let me go get him. She's talking about the alarm clock. And they said it would change your emotional posture. Look at me, I'm a baddie. And then I think there's a difference in a sacrificial season of nose to the grindstone versus years of a habitual pattern of being absent from the family for financial gain. Habitual patterns equals money focus, not family focus. But a season that the whole family agrees to the sacrifice can be a family value focus.
Yeah, certainly. Just on that note, with reference to my household, we have 3 daughters. We have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And there were moments where my wife, in agreement, we said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and she's gonna stay at home and she's gonna hold down the fort while I go to work. Okay, great. That was a season, and that just was what it was. That was the game plan we decided on. And then there were other seasons like now where she's like, okay, everybody's big enough, we can just both go to work. And obviously that changes lifestyle, right? More financial gain that kind of changes the lifestyle. And then there's been moments where it's like, hey, we got to get rid of these bills. So it's like, okay, let's tighten down. We're not going out to eat. So I totally get it, right? Hankering down, being in agreement. But what happens oftentimes is that it becomes a center focus. And I think one of the biggest issues in general is that we don't reevaluate our values. I don't even think people are having that much of a conversation of values, and we don't realize that our values affect not only our perspective, but also our worldview. Like, you think about whatever you find valuable in your life, most often, if you have found yourself judging anyone else, it's based upon your values. Like, if you really love your family and somebody's not with their family, you're like, how dare they? I would never do that, right? Because it's a value to you, right? So we see how values not only shift your perspective, but also your worldview. But the caveat of this is that the world is changing, and it's changing fast. So if the world is changing and you're changing, but you're not reevaluating your values, it may be that you're stuck in an old perspective and an old mindset that isn't going to allow you to actually grow.
Mm-hmm. That's scary in a way. One of the questions on one of those tests or whatever I had to fill out this previous week, right? It was asking me, why did I want to be included in the internship program? And I sat there thinking, and I threw some words on the Word document, and then I got up and walked away, and I was like, because I want to get paid. I was like, I want to get paid. I was like, but to be honest, to be more than that, I was like, my character is because I want to be excellent. Like, I strive to be excellent in all things that I possibly can, right? Like, I want to be the best, but not at the cost of driving others away or putting them down or anything like that. Like, it has nothing to do with others focused type stuff. I want to be the best because personally, I feel like that benefits God the most. Like, if he has given me so much, I want to be my best for him, right? So whether that means in hosting a show, making sure to shine the spotlight on other people and be others focused, or even at home, making sure I'm trying to make dinner at least 4 times a week. So that way my family has gotten some benefit, some, nutritional benefit from my cooking for them. And that, they can rely on that because they definitely have supported me right now through some things recently. And so I really want to make sure that they know I love them, even if it's not not convenient, traditional, it's not a traditional method, but I tell them, I'm like, I'm doing this because I care for you. I'm doing that
because that's your love language.
Correct.
Yes. And I'm cooking because I love you too, and I can do it. So yeah.
And you've got a lot of gadgets.
I do. I never have enough. I never have enough. I was telling some people in this program that I'm doing, and they were like, what's also like that question. I was like, I'll be honest with you. I was like, the only reason I'm really doing this program is so I need more comic book spending money. Like, the comic books aren't gonna buy themselves.
I was gonna say that's what he told us, really.
What it is.
You said earlier, Miguel, you said fear of missing out, right? And that's a huge deal in the comic book world, right? They're like, we only got 400 of these copies ever made. And I'm like, oh, where's my wallet? Do I?
Right. Well, you see that everywhere, though, right? That mindset of scarcity is like in the infomercials, if you call now, right? it creates this
Yeah.
this active scarcity of, man, it's gonna run out. Somebody's gonna get it. We only got 2 left. Better get it now. And the sad thing is, like, okay, we see that in infomercials, but oftentimes we act like that in our own life, which I think is the difficult part. We act like for some reason, you know, success is gonna run out or blessings are gonna run out. It's like, no, bro. Like, you know, focus on your task. And this is where I think that, you know, oftentimes people are scared of or nervous of sharing their vision or their goal because, well, if I share my idea, Sandy might steal it. It's like,
yeah, it'll jinx me.
Yeah. but I think it is my opinion that's a scarcity mindset, because here's the thing. Let's say I have this idea for this company and I tell you the idea and you're like, you know what, that's a good idea. I have the money. I'm going to go do it myself. Okay, great. You did it. But you know what you did not have and is the secret sauce? Me. This changes the entire conversation.
I agree.
Right?
That's how I see it too, Miguel. That's exactly how I see it. I'm like, if you do it great, it's on you. It's not going to be as good as when I do it, but that's fine.
Correct. And that changes the entire that changes the entire conversation, because no longer is it a scarcity mindset, like, oh no, she's gonna do it and the market's gonna go to her and I'm gonna lose out. And it's like, no, there's like a bazillion places that sell coffee and all of them are selling out, right? There's a bazillion places that make hamburgers and they're all selling out. So you can be, you know, the best version of yourself. So
one of CPJ's comments that she always says is, there's enough sunshine for all of us.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think she words it a little bit more eloquently than I did. Something to that effect.
What it really says, CPJ. But yeah, you're right, Miguel. And I always think about that too, because I'm always like, there's plenty to go around. There is not, you know what I mean? There is not, like, whether you're the first, last to do it, that doesn't matter one lick of anything, to be honest with you, right? I mean, look at Kmart. Who thought they were going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
And all the other dozens and dozens and the people who come after them, you know what I mean? Look at Blockbuster.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not, and I always think about that too at times. When I think about that next great idea, or whatever that aha moment that I'm thinking of is going to happen, it's so easy to defeat myself and be like, oh, someone else is going to have that same aha moment, and then, you know, they're going to do whatever.
Right.
But it's like, man, the more I start thinking about it, I'm looking around and I think, if you do it, you know, remember the old Field of Dream things? If you build it, they will come.
They will come.
Now, it's your job to maintain it, right?
Correct.
It's my responsibility to keep being the best or whatever, or ensure success as best I can. And I get it, even at the zenith of my effect on that, it still could fail. Yes, it still could fail. I get that. I don't want it to fail, and I'm not trying to have that failure's mindset. But it seems to me, when you look at the people who had success in their life in these things, it appears like they were like, I wasn't really looking left or right. I saw in front of me, and I felt like I could do something. And I did. I was listening to this guy today, Instagram or a YouTuber, influencer. He was like, I looked at my YouTube account and I saw that I made 55 cents from my views. I had 800 followers, 600 hours of viewing, something like that. He was like, and I had 55 cents. He goes, and at that moment, that was his aha moment, Miguel, that you're talking about. He was like, at that moment, I was listening to him talk. He was like, that's when I realized I'm quitting my job and I'm going to do this. And this is what's going to support me forever.
And he made how much?
At that one, the very first time he looked at it on YouTube, Sandy, it was 55 cents. But in his mind, he said, I just made 55 cents out of nothing.
Right. Because if I can make 55 cents, I can make $1.
Yeah, that's the guy. And he was like, and if I can make $1, I can pay a bill. Right. And if I can pay a bill, I can buy a house. So he just kept exponentially graduating the idea. He was like, I can do this. And then he just hit the floor and was like, I need to find a mentor. He was like, I saw a guy. I just took a chance. He was like, I didn't know the guy, but he had millions of followers. I found a way to contact him. And I said, I would love for you to mentor me. And the guy was like, come out here to Dubai or wherever it was. He goes, what? And he goes, yep, come out here to Dubai tomorrow and I'll do it. And
do you have Dubai money?
I don't know, but he said,
he was like, Dubai.
He goes, I'm there. And so he said he went that next day. He goes, and he was upset about it because the guy ended up coming to his state the following week. And he's like, we could have just met here. But
you know,
that success.
That's how hope works, right? So my definition, or when I look at hope, I think hope looks at the future. And the relationship between hope and faith is that faith looks at the past. And so faith reminds us of those moments of providence, of breakthrough, of growth, those moments that we actually didn't think we were going to make it, but we made it. And as we feed our faith, hope comes alive and says, okay, if you saw that once, you can see it again, right? If you saw healing, if you saw providence, if you saw breakthrough, if you saw growth once, you can see it again. Now, the next step is the step that oftentimes we stop at, which is that faith without works is dead. Like, you can remember how many times you succeeded, but if you don't put in the work, but no matter how hopeful you are.
Good point.
Yeah, because you can shit in one hand and hope and see which one fills up faster.
What?
I don't
read some of these comments.
Good summary.
Out of it.
Sandy, same way I felt when I sent that stolen design pic, but I knew they didn't have me. So just real quick to give you a little backstory on that. CPJ, creative mind, is always designing these beautiful things. Well, someone took her content, and anyway, so her and I had a little discussion about it, and we were cussing, and we were like, but like she said, they didn't have her.
Right, exactly.
And so, so that's
and you think about like artists in a general sense. Artists is like, when they go, like, especially musicians, right? When they go into the studio and they produce a hit, they're going back into the studio looking for another hit, because they're like, I know I did it once and I could do it again. It's like, well, somebody stole your song, yeah, but I'm the one I'm the hit maker, right? I'm the one who's creating these. And when you embrace your gifts and your talents, well, then it's like she said, they didn't take me, they only took just a sample of what I can do.
That's so true. And her thing is, there's enough sun to shine on all of us.
That's good.
She said, so clearly I like Miguel, Lebron, James, Michael Jordan the first.
Right.
She said, Sandy, you better roll those R's when you say that. Did somebody preach MLJMJ the first?
So, Miguel, we brought you on to talk a lot about being a
personal growth strategist.
Thank you, personal growth strategist. And so it definitely sounds like there's a lot of, at least, it's easy to say it, right? But to experience is another thing. I can vouch and say, yes, hearing what you have to say, having a personal growth strategist in your circle or on your payroll even, it makes dollars, right? It makes dollars. It goes to benefit you. I think kind of like how CPJ was saying earlier, it's like we're not born with that, and you need a muscle to flex and all that stuff. Like, it's kind of like, you need a coach, you need a workout partner, buddy, something like that, and
an accountability partner.
Like, it doesn't work out by yourself, and so it makes sense to have someone of your caliber and expertise to come in and help us flex that and to do that, because the benefits, at least from my perspective, and this is just me talking, the benefits that you get from something like what you're delivering, it's insurmountable. Like, it seems like that would make the difference between someone who's just thinking about a good idea and then those who really act on it, and the success that can come from it is monumental. So
I appreciate that. Well, even like in the story that you mentioned about that young man and the YouTube channel, right? He said 55 cents. Okay, boom, hope is built. But then he said, okay, I need a mentor.
Yes.
And you think about the greatest athletes, they all have a coach, and oftentimes it's a lot of fear and trepidation that comes into them. Like, I can't do that. I can't get a coach, or I can't. This is like, well, you also can't afford to stay stuck in your current position. You also, you can't afford.
Nothing's changing if you stay where you're at.
Correct. And I'm of the point of view that every 10 years we should be reinventing ourselves. So, if we leave this recording and 10 years from now, in the year 2033, we sit down, we should be radically different, each of us. Like, our conversation, our language, the entire thing should have been different, because otherwise, did we reinvent? Did we grow? Did we actually accomplish everything we could in those 10 years?
And then just reflecting back on the last 10 years to where you are now. Right. Can you see the change? So if you see change, if you see growth, then you can project that your growth, in 10 years will, continue.
And I can't do it based on others. Like you were saying at the beginning, I can't base my growth on others' growth. So like if Sandy's, making $1 million and I'm not, I can't look at what I've accomplished and be like, oh, it's nothing. It's
Right, exactly. Yeah, because the last 10 years, right, in 2013, who you were, where you were, what was happening was totally unique and distinct from Sandy. And so I think oftentimes we forget something, which is shocking, it's surprising, and it's the fact that all of us, the odds of any of us being born at the day we were born, at the time we were born, at the place we were born, with the DNA we were born, with all of the parts that make us us, it's a 1 in 400 trillion chance. So a description of that would be if you take a turtle and on its shell you paste a penny and you let it go into the ocean, and then it comes out with the penny on its shell, and you're the first one to see it come out. And you think about that, it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Yeah, that's the odds of you or I being alive in the specific time, place, moment that we were born, with the unique traits, abilities, talents, gifts that we have. And yet oftentimes we're too busy comparing, and comparison creates limitations.
Man, say that one more time for the people in the back. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Creates limitations. Man.
You show right. That's what I always say, Miguel. I'm always like, you know what? I just want to be better than the person I was yesterday. I'm not in a competition. I'm not. I don't have time to be looking. Okay, I do look at other people's grass, but
I do like to, and I'll admit, I do like to toot my own horn more than anything. So it's not that I usually like to compare myself to others in a negative sense, but I will go to others, close friends, and I'll be like, dude, you're all right, but if you look at
if you were with me, and I did something similar when I met my wife. We met at church, right? And so this youth group that existed at that moment was about 32 different youth, right? And so, I saw my wife with it. Right. So I saw her and I was like, man, she's beautiful. She's smart. She's all these great things. But then I looked around to everyone that was my age. And I said, man, I'm 17 years old. I don't have a driver's license. I don't have a car. I don't have a full-time job. This guy does, that guy does, that guy. I know that guy does. And I know he wants to go out with her. So I just felt like I wasn't measuring up. And as opposed to looking at that moment to say, okay, I guess it's over. I guess I have no chance. I just saw it as a moment to, okay, now I have to level up. If my age demographic is doing this, I have to level up. And within months, I had, completed school. I had gotten a job. I had gotten a car. I was getting ready to move in my own apartment. So when I stood up to her, I was like, no, I'm head and shoulders above the competition. I'm the person that I can be. And so, it's what you're saying, right? So looking around, sometimes the grass is greener, but you can either use it as fuel or you can use it to say, grass is greener over there. I'll never be able to do anything.
Yes. But I'm not trying to have green grass. I'm trying to have a beautiful desert over here.
Hey, there you go.
Right. I'm trying to have turf. I ain't got to worry about it.
There you go. I want plastic on my yard. I'm talking about plastic.
Right. So CPJ says, yes, I would listen to Miguel all day on a podcast, read his book, speak it, Miguel. Your brain and tongue are anointed, sir.
Wow.
Thank you.
And she says, the Lord literally decided I was needed right now. What I needed right now on this planet for his kingdom. He doesn't need me looking on Karen's paper. I'm not walking in my calling. If I'm looking over the fence. Mm-hmm. I will celebrate others, but what they are doing has nothing to do with my cookie jar.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Yeah. So Miguel, why don't we like to have a moment in our show where we give the spotlight wholly to our guests? And so we are not going to be done for another 20 plus minutes, but we'd like to have some just regular conversation between the three of us to continue on some kind of icebreaker stuff. But before we do that, we'd like to give you the screen time to kind of just deliver whatever message you want to give to anyone. And this is a time where you can kind of just share, your favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe, or where people can find you outside of the social distancing show tonight, or anything else. So what we're going to do is go ahead and give you the screen to do that.
Sure. Awesome. Hey, so if you want to connect with me, you can simply go to my website, MiguelLebron.com. When you go to MiguelLebron.com, there you'll find my podcast, Strategy Rewind. You'll also find blogs that I've written, videos that I've produced. Currently, right now, I have put a challenge to myself. And the challenge that I've done is that I'm using the Wisdom application. If you're not familiar with the Wisdom application, they're not paying me to say this. It's just an application that I think it's going to be very powerful this year. It's an application that only allows you to put audio posts. So it's not video and it's not photos, it's only audio recordings. And you have 60 seconds to answer a question that may be generated, or you can even like another question and you can even go live. And what I have challenged myself to do in the month of February is to go live every day for 30 minutes on the Wisdom application. So if you want to join the conversation of what that looks like, you can head over to the Wisdom application, download, hit the follow, and join in the conversation. Of course, those recordings then become the episode for Strategy Rewind for the month of February. So the month of February, we're producing one episode a day, 30 minutes length. So really excited for that. That's a challenge I've given myself. Again, you can download that, or you can simply just go to MiguelLebron.com. And not only will you find the written articles I have, the podcast and all of that, but there you can also find a list of core values. There is about 40 core values that I've written out. I suggest starting off with 4. Think of it as a compass. Right? A compass has north, east, south, west. So you start off with 4 core values. Also, because if everything is a value, then nothing is a value. So you start off with, hey, it's my time, Sandy. Come on.
Sorry.
So you start off with 4, and after you've selected the 4, there's also an article there that you can read. You don't have to put an email or anything. It's free. Just click on the link, and it's an article you can read which asks the question, can our values change? And indeed, if our values can change, what are the ramifications on the goals we've set and the life we want to live? So MiguelLebron.com is where you can find all of that. Oh, I still have time left over?
Right. Wanted to make sure you were done.
No. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
for the
That's cool. I never knew about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So MiguelLebron.com, just select on coaching and free resources, and there you'll find the core values list.
Yeah, I downloaded that Wisdom app. I've never heard about that one.
Oh, the Wisdom. Oh, yeah, you're gonna love it, man. It's an awesome application. I really think I did this episode which is titled my 2023 predictions, and one of the things I think that in 2023 is really going to blow up is community, because of what the pandemic brought. And I think one of the things the pandemic produced was an awareness of the value of community. And so I think Facebook groups are going to just blow up this year, but I also think other applications have the potential of blowing up. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, it was like, okay, Twitter could really do something, but it's still up in the air. I think they will, but it's still up in the air. However, I really, really think that this year, Wisdom application is really going to blow up, just because of there's no fluff, there's no filter, there's no images. It just is your voice. And so if you're concerned of, well, what if I look this way or that way, you just hit record and you can sound off for as long as you'd like and download the audio file, upload it to your podcast. So it's even easier to create a podcast nowadays.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the information. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, no problem.
So everyone, like I said, go check out Miguel on his website. We put all the links in the comments, so you can get to his website, and I put the link for the Wisdom app on there also. And then once you get to his website, you can just find all his different social media accounts and his podcast as well. So Miguel, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to keep you around because we want to go through some of our other topics that we kind of like to just mess around on. And so with that being said, Sandy, what are we going to start with tonight?
We're going to start with, it's 2023. Can we stop?
Okay.
And because Miguel was just on the show, this is a nod to him. It's 2023. Can we stop comparing our success to others?
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, because I'm still gonna judge you. I can't stop. I can't stop that.
Stop judging you. That's funny. I can't stop judging you, but I could stop comparing myself to you.
Stop comparing.
Look at you.
What is it? Miguel. I like drama. I don't like to be involved in drama, but I just like to read other people.
Sure, of course, of course.
So. I think Jamie froze on us. Okay, so I'm going to get my list out. And if you think of anything, just drop it in there. It's 2023. Can we stop with I'm just saying? You know how people post a comment and they say, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, yeah.
I mean, we did that. That was 10 years ago.
What was 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it. You were frozen. Can we stop with just saying?
Just saying.
Oh,
just saying.
You know how when they post that?
Just saying. You were frozen. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying you were trying to throw your sins on us. Just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Just saying.
I'm going to stop throwing sin and I'm going to start throwing shade, okay?
Hey, just saying. Don't throw shade. Just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Just saying. Yeah, I think we could stop to just saying.
You know, I had a good one too, Sandy, and I totally spaced out on what it was. Now I'm trying to look at.
Don't worry, I have a few lists.
Okay,
I have a
good.
few things on my list. So my next one is, it's 2023. Can we stop announcing when we're leaving a group because we don't agree with what's being posted?
Yeah.
Just leave. Just hit that leave button silently. Just leave.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Yeah, just hit the dab and move it on.
Yeah. So there's these people. I'm in tons of groups, but there's one that has these. It's called moderated art. And so people make memes out of the art.
Moderated art?
Yes, I think that's what it's called. Don't get me the line. Anyway, so then people get mad because they're offended all of a sudden because it's their first day on the internet. They're like, well, I'm leaving because all you people are just vulgar. And so why announce your departure?
Now, are they ending it with, I'm leaving because blah, 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 just saying?
Yeah. Oh, and then they just throw it just saying. Oh, that's a double whammy. Yes. So,
you should have just left just saying.
Yeah. Should never have announced.
So you make me think on that. And I don't know if this could be included as one, right? But the other day I had posted, or there was a conversation. Someone mentioned this comic book artist. Miguel, if you didn't know, I'm a big comic book geek, right?
You?
So someone mentioned this comic book artist.
You've only mentioned it 20 times.
Correct.
Okay.
Just say
it. And I went there and I was like, and there was some stuff that happened, it was one sentence, but it was one picture, and it triggered me immediately. And I go, that guy, he's an excellent artist, trash human, but excellent artist. And I didn't realize, I just spit that out quick. There's like 300 people in the chat.
Sure.
And then the first guy who comes in is like, and you know him personally? And I was like, look, you don't have to know a person personally to know that they're a trash human. When they go into their friend or another man's house, and then when they leave, they take their wife with them. They're the guy's wife with him. And then leaves the guy with a ton of drama from Disney and Marvel now and Badia. And then that guy posts a video about how heartbroken he was to have his friend and his wife cheating and then leaving him.
Took the trash out.
Trash people. So I was like, I don't need to know him.
Where are you getting these sayings from? Just saying.
I don't need to know him to know that that's trash human behavior here. And so in my mind, I was like, great. Now everyone's going to. And I was like, but don't get me wrong. He is an excellent artist. That doesn't save the fact that he's trash.
Okay? Right.
And so I'm sitting there like, great. Now I'm about to get attacked. But no, it actually went the opposite way. Everyone was upping my comment and like, yes, absolute trash. And I was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay. So can we stop defending trash also? Maybe that's what I was trying to say, Sandy. It's 2023. Can we stop defending trash?
Yeah, because in 2022, you defended Amber Trash.
I did not defend her. I said what was the whole story.
Wow.
And when that trial was over, I said I was against her with my emotions. I said if I took my emotions out of it though, I am partial at the beginning, which I was. So, it's not my fault that you are an emotional cowboy.
There you go. Okay? See? CPJ ain't lying. CPJ ain't lying today.
Okay, my last one for 2023. Can we get over the Mahomes hate? We're fans of Mahomes. We would have been fans if he went to the Cowboys or he went to the Houston Oilers. Lots of bitter people holding on.
Really?
For no reason. I mean, it's craziness. So Lubbock gets a lot of hate. I'm not sure, Miguel, if you're familiar with Mahomes and his history. He actually he attended Texas Tech University, where my hometown. And so we've had football season passes, of course, forever. And while he was here, we had him after. We've gone to see him play, as a Chiefs. And anyway, huge Mahomes fan. He just happens to play for Kansas. So everybody's like, oh, here come all the Lubbock, Kansas City Chiefs or whatever. So anyway, I'm just over it. It's 2023. He's the GOAT. We've got one GOAT retiring. We needed one GOAT to step up. I mean,
yeah, I think that's kind of like when early Lebron left Cleveland initially and went to Miami, and everybody was like, he made his decision. It's horrible. It's like, but if he would have gone to your team, you would have been happy too. So,
yeah. We'd have been Cowboys fans. Like I said, we're not Cowboys fans. We're not Chiefs fans. We're Mahomes fans.
There you go. Yeah. You ride with the player, not with the team.
Yep.
I get that.
Do.
I get that.
All right. That's all I had for 2023s. Did you think of any, Miguel?
Yeah, I think it's 2023. We can get rid of the new year, new me stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like, every year people put that and it's like, you don't realize the pressure you're putting on yourself. And then they're doing it on January 1st. It's not like they're doing it on December 15th and you're giving yourself some leeway to build into this new me. It's January 1st. This is new me. Really? When did you decide this? At midnight or 12:01? Yes.
No, I'm still the same sarcastic
I think the
butthole I
New Year's
was.
resolution stuff is silly.
I do agree with the New Year's resolution, but I do think you have to you have to build momentum. And so oftentimes
I just agree with resolutions, just period.
Right.
I don't agree with the whole New Year, New You kind of mentality to it.
So
I'm not going to knock it though either. I'm just saying,
but you're saying
you just knocked it.
Well, in general, I'm not going to say, Sandy, that's dumb because you chose to do something new in the new year. That's not what I'm going to do.
But you're saying you don't agree with New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm saying is that I agree, but I think that it's done wrong, where we need to build the momentum. So if you understand that you want to do something in the new year, start maybe on the 15th or the 20th of December, build some momentum. So as the new year comes in, then you could transition into your New Year's resolution.
Cooking and partying and gifting. You want us to start our New Year resolution on the 15th, but dinner hasn't been served till the 25th.
And so at 12:01, you're like, at 12:01, they're walking around. Okay. What'd you say? You fly high? They walking around.
So I started dry January.
Okay, how'd that go?
Great.
Good.
I started it December 28th.
See what I'm saying? You build momentum.
Because that morning I was hungover. And I said,
so you detoxed. So you detoxed and went right into the month.
Yes.
Still, you build momentum. You build
momentum.
I rest my case.
Okay, let's just acknowledge that too.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Solution of convenience also.
Yes.
But, that's okay.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
CPJ has one.
She said it's 2023. Why do fans have to be loyal to franchises when franchises aren't loyal to their players?
Yes.
What did I miss?
Yes.
What happened?
I don't know about what she's talking about specifically, but I feel that when I think about jobs, when you think you're loyal to a company, and I guess it can apply here, right? To the franchises, the sports franchise or whatever, like anything you feel that you are loyal to, and especially in the job market, guys. And I only say that because of all the tech layoffs that happened last week and hearing people talking about how, they were fiercely loyal to some of these companies and stuff. And I'm like, you're kidding yourself if you think your loyalty
means anything.
Yeah. It translates into a certain bottom line for someone. But once that bottom line either flips or is in the red, like they're going to do what they need to do to get into the black, and your loyalty means squat. Squat. So, and I used to feel so heavily about being loyal to a company so that I could finish that with that company and stuff, right? But I'm in the IT world, and in the IT world, you fluctuate like every 2 years. Like the average time in a job in the IT world is 2 years, no more, right? And so now I realize and I understand, Now, I'm not saying all professions are like no,
Right,
no,
right.
they are. I'm not saying you don't need to stick with a job for plus years. All I'm saying is your loyalty does not mean squat to any of them. So long as there is a bottom line that exists, your loyalty is only as beneficial to them as you are to
Yeah, the
their bottom
return on
line.
it, right? The return on investment that they want. And so,
Yeah.
the way I view that is, and I agree with you, by the way, I think oftentimes we are loyal to a company to the point that we'll sacrifice friendships, relationship, personal growth, all for this company. And then at the end of the day, if they want to say, hey, sorry, buddy, we appreciate the work you did, but you gotta go. I think,
Toodaloo.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they're paying us, guys. They're paying
yeah,
us. Like, that's the
correct.
extent
That's
of
yeah.
our relationship. That's
And
it.
so,
To think that there's any more due to us past that, or that there's any, like I get upset with people when I talk to people who are like, yeah, you have to work more than those
mhm.
38 hours a week. I'm in the corporate world, and in the corporate world,
Oh,
it's
sure.
predominantly 38 hours, not
Mhm.
40. But
Sure.
I'm like, why are you working more or taking work home? So when I used to lead the team in the corporate world, I used to be like, no, you can just stop. Don't worry. It's just going to be there
Mhm.
for you. Like, look how grand this company is. You think by you taking your work home tonight, it's going to put a dent in something? Just
Yeah.
the same way, if you were to be gone tonight and forevermore, you think this is going to collapse? No.
Mhm.
So just take your time for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think having an exit strategy is good, and also having at least for
Options.
me, yeah, have what I did for me is that when I started my job, and I work with a financial tech company. So when I started there, I said, okay, I'm giving myself 10 years. I don't know what I'm doing after those 10 years, but I'm giving myself 10 years in this company, and I'm going to do the very best that I can to continue to grow personally and professionally. And so what happened for me was that at year 5, I actually got a promotion. So great, but I'm still counting down to that year 10. And at year 10, I'm going to reevaluate my values. I'm going to reevaluate if this place aligns with what I'm trying to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
it does, I'll continue. And if it doesn't, then not being afraid to move on. And
Because it's mutually beneficial.
correct.
It has to be mutually beneficial for you
Mhm.
and the company,
Yeah.
man.
And it has
There's
to
no
align with your
shame in
values,
leaving,
though. It has to align with your values, because can you imagine working for a place that you're like, man, I love the pay, but I don't like what this company stands for, right?
right?
It's like you said about that artist where you're like, yeah, as an artist, he's great, but as a person, I don't want him around me. Okay, so imagine the same thing for a company. It's like, it doesn't make sense to work at a place that, culturally, the culture in that organization does not benefit you or
Yes,
even help you grow.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like you're only given a certain amount of working hours in your life.
Mhm.
Use those to what you want to do. Now, I get at the beginning of life, it's a little bit harder, right? You
Right.
need to invest in yourself. You're
Mhm.
you're a newly minted person in
Mhm.
the world, kind of thing, right? So you got to put some equity in yourself until you can get to that stage where you're like, oh, I don't need to take that
Mhm.
paying job, whatever it is, that
Mhm.
that paying job, because I know my value and my worth, and I know I'm worth this out there.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna bide my time and get to that spot. But man, it drives me nuts. Like I said, people, we just have to know that it's got to be mutually beneficial. And like what you said, the values, I consider that part of the benefits, right? I
Mhm.
consider that part of the benefits. It's like,
Mhm.
I've only got X amount of hours to work. I would prefer to use those hours of work towards something that I love, something that I
Mhm.
believe in, something that aligns with what my priorities are in life. And like I said, if that changes in 10 years, it changes in 10 years.
Right.
There's nothing in life saying your priorities have to stay the same
Right.
in
And they
5 years
won't.
or forever.
And they won't. That's the thing. That they won't. And the idea that they will, it is not realistic. They won't, because where you're gonna be is gonna be entirely different.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
just hopping on top of that,
Mhm.
my prior job, I really thought, man, this is where I'm going to be set for life. Like, this is it. This is the end all be all. Wanted to be here. And then we got new management, and new management just didn't align with me. And we were there, we floated along. And then he said something that forever changed my life.
What?
He said, just remember, you need me more than I need you.
Oh no.
Ooh.
No.
And so I said, toodaloo.
Yeah.
And in this line of business, you could not give a 2-week notice, because what they would do is automatically shut you down and you're out. And so
you had to be swift.
I had to be swift.
Wow.
I ended up coordinating my movers, made sure that I had all my ducks in a row, moved, got into my new employment. It just all fell through. It was a God thing. It all fell through for me, or came through for me, not fell. And so he said, I think he meant ace of base, but ass of bass works too.
He's talking about your old boss.
Yeah, probably. So anyway, I came in that Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, because it was one of the longer holiday weekends. Then he's like, "What's up?" And I said, "Here's my belongings, and I'm, just letting you know that I'm out of here." And then he was like, "What? Are you sure? Can I say anything to make you stay?" And I said,
he's like, "You already said.
You said enough.
Yeah,
you've said enough for me." Yeah. And I will never forget that. I will never forget how I thought I was valued, but I wasn't. And so that was motivation for me to say, you know what? We no longer align. And now I'm in a completely amazing position.
Tell me who they are so I can go Yelp bomb them, Sandy. We'll put a whole crew
but you
together.
Think about that story. If there wasn't that change of management, there would not have been that change in culture, which quite possibly you would have excelled and grown there. But that change of management caused a change in culture, which did not align with your values, right? And so you had to be swift, like, okay, what's really important to me, being valued or just being here and getting this pay?
Being thought that so little
actively being thought so little of. Like that was the active thought,
right?
And the audacity to voice that out.
Yes.
Like you can have that thought, right? But just keep it to yourself. Like you gotta go broadcasting that out. Like
it's crazy.
Job, and I'm glad, you know what? I'm glad that he said it to me. That was the push that I needed. Right. And then I had been there 4 years. My girlfriend had been there 18 years. So she followed suit. That's how powerful of a moment that was for both of us.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there was other things that we were just kind of
but that was the moment.
But man, that was the moment. For me, that was the moment. And to this day, I saw him out and about. We would been drinking, and I said, "Yeah."
That was before Dry January.
Yeah, that was way before Dry January. That was Alcoholic December. But anyway, so I had mentioned, and I said, "You know what?" I said, "So why?" I did tell him. Of course, I had liquid courage, and
sure.
I was about to say.
What was his response, by the way? Do you remember?
I mean, he just kind of like didn't say anything, but it was just kind of like he shook his head and acknowledged. That because I told him, I said, "Man, I'd have been loyal to you," and I think I said that I'd have been loyal to you forever. I would have. But you said that. It was like a kick in the gut, and the wake up that I needed.
Yeah.
And so now I'm posed to own my own company, and
that's awesome.
Which I didn't have that possibility in that world.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, here's the thing about that breakthrough moment is that oftentimes, right, we talk about a breakthrough moment. Oftentimes we think, well, it's going to be a good moment. No, sometimes you're broken in the process of your breakthrough moment. And so even though it feels really sucky and it feels really bad, on the other side, if you persist, on the other side is this version of you that you were like, man, I didn't even know I had this inside me. And it was there all along. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me catch up on these comments real quick. CPJ says, Sandy, the people complaining about Lubbock Chiefs fans, we are Mahomes fans that turned Chiefs fans. If he becomes an Australian kangaroo, sign me up for the fan club. So all these for lifers, come on, this ain't 1973 with 30-year players. And Jason, thanks for hopping in here. How's it going? And CPJ says, it's 2023 and I'm still calling dibs and seat back when I get up. Just saying. I don't trust the people around me. Just saying.
Just saying.
What's seat back?
When you get your seat back, like I'm coming back.
Oh, okay.
And then Sean says, go KC. But yes, he was an ass of a boss. You so right. So right.
So every time you say breakthrough, you said breakthrough tonight, Miguel. It reminds me. Do y'all know who John Leguizamo is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has this hilarious stand-up that he did back in the day, right?
Mhm.
And there's a part where he's talking about his mom and dad, and how his mom was out partying one night, and she comes home, and his dad gets pissed, and she's like, he's beating her, right? And he was like, you can't get out from me, you can't do whatever you want. I need you here at the house, and basically, like, the house falls apart when you're not here. And his mom, him acting as his mom, though, he's like, get off me, you stupid, blah, 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 blah. He goes, don't confuse your breakdown with my breakthrough. And he does it in such a funny way, though. The play is hilarious, but every time you said that tonight, that clip keeps replaying in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So
nice. That is a good thought. Don't completely confuse your breakdown for my breakthrough.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is. Can I show off some stuff, though? Because we're about to have to get off, and I want to do this because
I know we have to be respectful of Miguel's time, because he's like in a different time zone.
I already talked with him. You said, like, he was open with this.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He has a bedtime. I'm worried about
it's funny the way you say
it too. Anyway, so
hey, how do you feel about James Gunn revamping the entire thing?
We don't talk about that here. Okay.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
He needs to go.
Okay.
He needs to be fired. Yes, we do talk about that. Okay. We do not like him.
Did you guys see Black Adam?
No, I'm totally done with DC, dude. I'm done.
Oh, man. But James Gunn had nothing to do with Black Adam. He actually got rid of what was going to be the part 2.
Yeah, so I'm still critical of him, but here's the thing. You can bring in a new first lead or whatever you want to say, but Zaslav is still the captain of everything. So as far as I'm concerned, Zaslav had been making poor decisions for the last 2 years, and the fact that he brought in James Gunn, like, there was a sliver of hope there.
Yeah.
To me, when you have, and I've said it this way several times, Miguel, when you have the world's most perfect layup, and then you go in to tell
and cut Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Smile at the crowd while making that layup miss on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like all you had to do was put him in the suit again.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing at the
and end then call Ezra Miller back. You.
And then
at the end of Black Adam, they set it up where it was going to be Superman versus Black Adam. At the end of,
and that was
it's a good, but Black Adam was a well done movie. It was well done.
Okay,
it reminded me.
Is The Rock thought he was coming to DC to revamp? The whole there's going to be a power change in DC. Is like whatever, dude. Like to even put Rock as the pinnacle of a comic book movie franchise was stupid to begin with.
Oh, so you did not like The Rock in that role?
No. Here's the thing. He was built to be that role or to be Shazam or Captain Marvel. That's Shazam, the movie Shazam.
They wanted him in the Shazam movie.
Marvel. Yeah, and now they're saying how he committed career suicide by not being the cameo in Shazam, the first one that he should have been.
According to what he said,
back as the villain for the second movie instead of these two clowns. Not that they're clowns. I'm sorry. I can't handle everything that they're doing over there, Miguel.
It's crazy. According to what he said, though,
is ridiculous. Bringing Ezra's back for reshoots on the Flash. That dude.
That dude was doing some crazy stuff. Yeah,
he's trash.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's trash. And I can't believe he brought him back to do reshoots last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We canceled Batgirl, and we.
You got rid of Henry Cavill. Have I mentioned that?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I went to go see Black Adam, and I liked what they did with it. It reminded me of, and I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the Terminator. In the Terminator, the boy shows the Terminator how to act and be like a human. And in the movie Black Adam, they kind of did that where because he is awakened from this deep sleep in this new world, he has to be taught how to walk and talk like a human. And so by the end of it, he himself...
It's a little dumb, let me just say, because Wisdom of Solomon...
Well, I'm just saying what I'm saying. I thought it was a good introduction. And at the end of it, and there was some good humor, not like what was this movie? The latest one they did with Thor, where it was like more
Love and
kind
Thunder.
of Yeah, it was more like Deadpool kind of stuff, and it's like leave Deadpool alone and do I don't know. And
Deadpool shocked the shit
But here's
out
the
of
thing,
me.
though. Marvel has a track record. Okay, they can have a couple flops here and there.
right.
DC, they can't do that.
Did you get to see the new Batman?
No, I'm not.
Oh yeah,
that's
I'm
not
worth
doing
it.
anything DC. I'm done.
No,
Wait,
you're done?
Batman, the Rob
The emo-
Pattinson?
the
Yeah,
emo boy,
with the vampire. I saw that.
Horrible.
Reeve.
It was
Wait,
bad.
there was a
Let me tell you
vampire
something.
there?
I fell asleep midway through that movie, and that was bad. It was just bad. It was just a bad movie. It was too long, and it just didn't make sense to me. To me,
Wait,
the
he
Christian
was a
Bale series
vampire?
is the best, huh?
Batman meets a vampire in the new
Well,
movie?
because the character that plays Batman was a vampire in the series of
Twilight.
There
He
you
knows
go.
that.
Sparkly kid.
There you go. You see, he was a vampire turned into a Batman.
In such pain.
Miguel, you
I
should have
just
brought all this
couldn't.
up at the beginning, not
I'm so
now.
sorry. Well, we got to finish
I'm
with a
on the
bang.
parapet now because
We
this
gotta finish
stuff
with-
drives me nuts. I can't handle DC, man.
Miguel is just
Did you
saying
watch-
hashtag 2023.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Did you watch the Emerald Knight, the animated Green Lantern that focused on Jon Stewart?
I think I may have caught some of it, but not
He
in
fell
great
asleep
detail.
Don't worry.
through that one
Don't
too.
worry. It's trash.
Okay.
It was trash.
Wow.
The voice acting was horrible. The
Really?
score was ridiculous. There was awkward pauses of silence in places.
So, what
that there
magazine
shouldn't
do
be.
you have there? What magazine were you showing us?
Are you trying to get me?
He's like, quit trash talking all these sinners.
That's all
and
he
show
was
us
on.
your
He's
stuff.
Wolverine?
on his trash talking
Wow.
stuff, right? So I just got this
That's
because
a
I
neat
thought it was.
He
cover.
came back to reprise his role too, right, Hugh?
Yeah, actually there's a signing with CGC later this
Oh,
month.
wow.
So people who want to get their comic signed by the Wolverine,
That's
get
pretty
it, which
cool.
is silly to me, but
Look
look at this cover.
at that. That's Black
I love-
Adam.
This is
That's Black
Azarella.
Adam.
No, it's Superman. This is Azarella's drawing of Superman. I really love.
Oh, I'm
No,
like, I
it
can't
really
tell
does
what
look
it
good.
is.
And
That's
then
pretty cool.
finally was this one. This is a good one that I got this week that I'm like, man,
Hmm.
looks good. So shiny.
Oh, wow.
What
Yeah.
is that? Who is it?
Is that Flash?
Shock.
Oh, it's okay. Got you.
I don't know who that is.
It was the old cartoon that they had, but it was a comic first. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh.
this is sick.
Jason says
cover.
it was fine. It was Detective Batman.
Yeah. I just.
Did you mean
can't do it.
Defective Batman? I think that's what you
Yeah, well,
I can't
he
do it,
previously miswrote, was it Boss? So just saying.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome, John. I knew you wanted to see them. I knew you
John
were
was
curious,
ready.
So I'm sorry about not getting them on last week for you, John. Okay. Anyway, so I guess we do have to end things because it is
We
so
do.
late now, and
It's past
we
my
want to
bedtime.
make sure Sandy gets to bed on time,
And I too.
and you
Miguel.
too,
Mhm.
Miguel.
Miguel
Lebrón.
Lebron. Why couldn't I have a cool?
I know.
Lebron?
I needed an R somewhere in my name, but I got 4 names and didn't get a single R in any
Oh,
of
get
them.
out of here.
Jeez.
I mean, I guess I do have
What you got?
What do you have?
Rodriguez, but that's used and abused.
Oh
I mean, it's
yeah.
still something.
The,
I got
but you got
nothing.
Rodriguez with the accent in it
Mhm.
and the Z at
Is it
the
with
end.
the G or the
Mhm.
Q?
G.
Oh,
And there was the
Rodriguez.
G or the S? at
Yeah,
the
we weren't Rodriguez.
end?
But anyway, funny quick tidbit before we go. I took the wrong last name off when I got married. My mom was like, "That's been there, huh?" And I'm like, "Mom, I've
Right.
never been married before, but next time I know to remember
Next? Oh no.
because I have to reevaluate my things,
There
Miguel."
you go.
In
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
You
yeah.
might want the other last name.
Yeah. Oh no.
Reevaluate my life.
There you
Look,
go.
stay hydrated, Miguel, Lebron, James, Michael Jordan the first. Great to connect with you. I'll hear you on the pod.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for hanging out with
Thank
us
you,
today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Joe says he loves you all and he misses you all. And Miguel,
Right,
again,
where
thank you
is
for
old
hanging out with
Joe?
us tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everyone, as
Come
usual,
back anytime, Miguel.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
as usual.
Remember to stay hydrated, you filthy animals.
And meet new
As
people.
usual.
Just saying.
Just saying.